Everyone says Aquarius is unique. They're not. Aquarius is lonely. And everything you think is intellectual superiority is actually fear of rejection. I've analyzed Aquarius placements for 15 years. What I discovered isn't brilliance. It's isolation. The Aquarius you think is too evolved for normal connection isn't above it. They're terrified of it. Stay until the end. The reason Aquarius stays detached will change how you see this sign forever. Let's start with what everyone gets wrong. When you meet an Aquarius, they seem so different. They talk about ideas nobody else understands. They have interests that feel ahead of their time. They seem unbothered by social norms, like they're operating on a higher frequency. And people admire this. They call it vision. They call it intelligence. But watch what actually happens. The Aquarius doesn't connect deeply with anyone. Every conversation stays intellectual. Every relationship stays at arm's length. Every emotional moment gets rationalized away. Because here's what nobody tells you. Aquarius doesn't stay detached because they're evolved. They stay detached because intimacy terrifies them. And if you're too different to relate to, you never have to risk being rejected. Here's the pattern. Someone tries to get close to the Aquarius. Wants emotional connection, vulnerability, real intimacy. And the Aquarius retreats into their mind. They intellectualize the emotion. They analyze the relationship. They create distance by making everything theoretical instead of felt. And the other person feels rejected, like they're too simple or too emotional for the Aquarius. But here's what's really happening. The Aquarius isn't superior. They're scared. Because if they let someone in and that person leaves, it confirms their deepest fear. That being different means being alone. So they choose alone on their own terms. They decide everyone else is too shallow before anyone can decide they're too weird. The detachment isn't confidence. It's preemptive rejection. Let me tell you about the 3 layers of Aquarius isolation. First layer. The superiority mask. This is what everyone sees. The Aquarius positions themselves as intellectually or ideologically above others. They talk about concepts most people don't engage with. They're into causes, theories, future thinking. And it looks like they're visionary. But watch closer. Every interest they have is something that separates them from the mainstream. Every opinion they hold is designed to prove they're not like everyone else. The superiority isn't genuine. It's a moat. Because if you're superior, you don't need connection. You're alone by choice, not by circumstance. The mask isn't confidence. It's camouflage for loneliness. Second layer. The emotional unavailability. Everyone thinks Aquarius is just naturally rational and less emotional. Wrong. Aquarius feels everything. But they intellectualize it immediately. Someone hurts them? They analyze why that person behaves that way instead of feeling the hurt. Someone loves them? They theorize about attachment patterns instead of receiving the love. Every emotion gets processed through the mind, so it never has to be felt in the heart. Because feeling means vulnerability. And vulnerability means someone could hurt you. So they stay in their heads. Always observing, never participating. Always analyzing, never experiencing. The rationality isn't strength. It's armor. Third layer. The loneliness they won't admit. This is the layer almost nobody sees. Deep down, the Aquarius is desperately lonely. But they've spent so long convincing themselves they're different, special, misunderstood, that admitting loneliness would shatter their identity. Because if you're lonely, maybe you're not actually superior. Maybe you're just isolated. Maybe you push people away. Maybe being different isn't a gift, it's a defense mechanism. And that realization is too painful. So they double down. They get more detached, more intellectual, more convinced that everyone else is the problem. And the loneliness grows. But so does the narrative that it's everyone else's fault for not being evolved enough to understand them. Let me tell you a real story. I knew an Aquarius named Daniel. Daniel was brilliant, genuinely. He read philosophy, talked about systems thinking, was into AI before it was mainstream. Everyone thought he was fascinating. But I got close enough to see the pattern. Daniel would get into relationships where someone would fall for him. And for a few months he'd engage. But the second they wanted emotional depth, he'd start criticizing them. You're too focused on feelings. You're not intellectual enough. You don't understand the bigger picture. And the person would leave hurt. Daniel would tell himself and everyone else that people just couldn't handle his level of thinking. But one night, after his 4th relationship ended this way, he broke down. He said something I'll never forget. He said, "I'm not superior. I'm terrified. Every time someone gets close, I panic. What if they see I'm not as special as I seem? What if they realize I'm just scared and lonely like everyone else? So I push them away first. I make it about them not being smart enough. But the truth is, I don't know how to be vulnerable. I don't know how to just feel without analyzing. And now I'm 42 and I've never let anyone actually know me. The superiority was a lie. I was just afraid of being ordinary. And being ordinary meant being rejectable. That's when I understood. Aquarius's uniqueness isn't real uniqueness. It's performed difference. Real uniqueness doesn't need to be announced. Real brilliance doesn't need to separate you from everyone. But Aquarius never learned that connection doesn't require conformity. They learned early that being different kept them safe. Maybe they were the weird kid and got bullied for it. So they decided weird meant special, not wrong. Maybe they were smarter than their peers and felt isolated. So they decided isolation meant elevation, not exclusion. Whatever the origin, the message was clear. Being different means being alone. And being alone means being safe from rejection. Here's the psychology behind it. Aquarius is an air sign ruled by Uranus, the planet of rebellion and individuality. Uranus doesn't do normal. Uranus doesn't do tradition. Uranus breaks rules. And Aquarius internalized this as their identity. They're supposed to be the revolutionary, the genius, the one who sees what others can't. But here's the problem. You can't build intimacy on difference. Intimacy requires shared experience, shared vulnerability, shared humanity. But Aquarius built their entire identity on not being like everyone else. So every time they try to connect, they're fighting against their own narrative. Because if they're relatable, are they still special? If they're emotional, are they still evolved? If they need people, are they still independent? The answer is yes to all of those. But admitting it feels like identity death. The tragedy of Aquarius is this. They're so busy protecting themselves from rejection that they guarantee their own isolation. Every relationship ends because they won't let anyone in. Every connection stays surface because they won't go deep. Every friendship remains intellectual because they won't be vulnerable. And then they look around at their life and see themselves alone. But instead of recognizing the pattern, they blame everyone else. Everyone else is too shallow, too emotional, too normal, too unenlightened. The Aquarius never has to look at their own fear because they've convinced themselves the problem is external. But the loneliness they feel? That's not because nobody understands them. It's because they won't let anyone try. So what can an Aquarius do? First, admit the truth. You're not detached because you're evolved. You're detached because you're afraid. Name the fear. Second, practice feeling without analyzing. When emotion comes up, sit with it for 60 seconds before intellectualizing it. Let yourself feel hurt, love, anger, joy without immediately theorizing why. Your humanity isn't weakness. It's the only path to connection. Third, vulnerability with one person. Pick someone safe and practice being ordinary with them. Tell them you're scared. Tell them you feel lonely. Tell them being special is exhausting. Fourth, therapy focused on attachment and fear of rejection. Because Aquarius's pattern usually comes from childhood experiences where being different meant being excluded. You learned that different equals alone. But that's not true. Different can still belong. And if you love an Aquarius, here's what you need to know. Their detachment isn't about you. Their intellectualizing isn't because they don't feel. It's because they feel too much and don't know how to handle it. When they criticize you for being too emotional, what they're really saying is I'm terrified of emotions and you're making me feel them. You have a choice. You can let them stay on their pedestal alone. Or you can gently say, I see you pretending to be above connection. But I also see you're lonely. You don't have to be special to be loved. You just have to be real. The Aquarius who truly loves you will be terrified by that invitation. But they might finally come down from the pedestal. Because real connection beats performed uniqueness every single time. Aquarius isn't unique. Aquarius is lonely and calling it special. And once you see that loneliness, the detachment makes perfect sense. It's not evolution. It's protection. Are you an Aquarius? When did being different start feeling safer than being connected? Or do you love an Aquarius and finally understand why they won't let you in? Comment below. Next video we're completing the Earth signs with Capricorn. And the title is, Capricorn doesn't value success, they fear worthlessness. You won't want to miss it. Click right there.